I want to get to the genetic holdovers, because the first time that I heard about this was actually about diet. A friend of mine, John Vroman, has a very successful mastermind group and podcast called Front Row Dads. He was interviewing a dietitian, and the guy was talking about how the way that we eat can affect something, and I'm going to get the number wrong, so I apologize, but 14 or like 24 generations down the line. And he was like, if you want to know why humans just desire sugar and we fall for stuff that has sugar in it and we get addicted to sweets, is, if you go back, probably a couple hundred generations, we were hunter-gatherer, or we were foragers, not hunter-gatherers yet. And so it's like, if you came upon a fig tree, you stayed at that fig tree until you ate every single fig off that tree, because the sugar was like life-giving. It was, it would sustain the little family of wanderers for days or weeks. And so we're like genetically predispositioned to just love sugar, like our taste buds, our physiology, our mental connection to sugar. It's why, like, right now I'm thinking about Oreos, and I want to end this podcast right now to go get some double stuffed Oreos. So it makes sense to me when you say that emotions or trauma or whatnot can also get caught up in our genetic code. And it seems a little woo-woo, but it also seems like something that's woo-woo that they're going to prove one day with science.
It's already been proven, and I've proven it myself with clients. I just had a guy the other day who we were releasing negative emotions. We were releasing, I think it was hurt. And so, we're going, he's like, yeah, this started, he has his eyes closed going through the whole thing. He's like, yeah, it's before my birth. He's like, I'm getting on my grandpa's side, I don't know, this is weird. He's, he's going through the whole thing. So he's describing to me, so his grandfather was in the Soviet Union, or he was in the KGB, I think, KGB or whatever, during World War I or II, whatever war it was. And so he goes, yeah, man, this is weird, but my grandpa's in like a barn, and there's four or five people, I can't remember. And we're all wearing these coats, and we're all just afraid. Like, I don't know why, but I just get the sense that, like, we're all afraid because we're going to die. Yeah, this is what he's telling me. And
by the way, it's that specific.
Dude, so let me tell you, so that's specific. So he, and by the way, nobody's ever told him this story. He doesn't know this story.
I was going to say, because naysayers would be like, no, when you were 5 years old, you heard this story and you're just making it up in your head.
No. So this is what happened. So we went through the whole thing and whatever. And so that day he started talking, he's telling his dad about his experience. He's like, Dad, this is so weird. I did this whole thing with grandpa, or this, this tapping this memory with grandpa. And his dad was taken aback because he goes, you know what? He said, that's so crazy, because he's like, I've heard that story from grandpa one time. And he goes, he was telling his uncle the story, and his dad just happened to overhear it. So his grandpa didn't tell his dad the story. He was talking to his uncle, telling him the whole exact story. And he said, how many people were with him? He said 5. It was 4 or 5. And he's like, yeah. He's like, okay, what were they wearing? Coats, long coats. It was winter time. He's like, why were they there? He's like, I don't know, but I just got the sense that they were going to die. So what ended up happening was, since his dad knew the story, what he said was his grandpa was in a hospital. The hospital, something was happening, so they had to leave, and he grabbed a coat of the opposition, whoever they were fighting against, grabbed that coat. So when they found him, he was wearing whatever, Germany's coat or whatever it was.
Coat of the enemy.
Coat of the enemy, yeah. And he's like, no, I'm Russian, I'm this, I'm that. And they're like, well, let's confirm. So they had him in that barn because they were confirming before they were going to execute him the next day. So luckily, obviously, the guy's still alive. So, the guy, my client. So turns out that he was all legit, everything checked out, and they didn't kill him. So I've also had, I can go on for days, but I'll just tell one more story. So I had another client of mine who, it was the same emotion, it was hurt. And he's like, he's got his eyes closed, but this time it was during his mom's pregnancy. Okay. And he goes, yeah, he starts tearing up. He's getting really emotional. And he's like, man, I don't know if this is real or what this is, man. But he's like, I'm getting that my dad kicked my mom in the back while she was pregnant. And again, nobody ever told him the story, whatever. So then he went and told his mom that same day. And he said his mom literally went from normal talking like you and I to just completely pale, just instantly blood left her body. And she was just stumbling and stammering. It was like, who told you that story? Nobody knows that story. And he said, yeah, I was working with this hypnotist guy and this is the memory that popped up or whatever. And it turns out that actually happened, that his dad kicked his mom in the back, and his dad wasn't abusive or anything, but it's just whatever happened during the pregnancy. And she goes, me and your dad, I've never told anybody that story. Just you and your dad are the only people that know that. So I don't know how you knew, but obviously she didn't want to tell anybody the story because she's like a lot of shame around that kind of stuff. Right. So yeah. And there's, I could go on forever about other clients and whatnot, but that stuff's real.
It's weird because describing this story, like, I know you are not full of shit. Well, I think I think you're not full of shit.
You're looking into my eye trying to see if I'm lying or not, but
exactly.
I'm not.
Well, that's the thing. Like,